Take it away, ladies, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Raquel, for this opportunity. Thank you for the the respect that you give, the love that you give. I know I just met you, but you're wonderful. My name is Leslie Strange. My recovery from king alcohol and other substances was November 2nd, 1988. I have 36 years of continuous sobriety, one white chip, and a lot of struggles in other areas. We'll talk about that hopefully later. I'm broadcasting loud, live, and in color from my home in Atlanta, Georgia. Over to you, Brand.
All right. My name is Brenda Maven, and I am in Los Angeles. My sobriety date is August 5th, 1986, and I am celebrating 39 years of sobriety this month. And I am really, really excited to be here. You guys are going to have a treat because you're going to actually be in a conversation that Leslie and I have because we talk on a regular basis and we always talk about God. So just pretend like you're eavesdropping on one of our conversations because that's what we're getting ready to do. And I think we're going to have some fun. Okay. Thank you, Les. Go ahead. Your
Thank
turn.
you. I'm just going to start it out like this. I got sober in 1988. I was 28 years old, and Brenda and I, if you guys don't know, this is my sponsor. Brenda was my sponsor early on in sobriety, although I did the steps with her best friend. I met Brenda from day one. She knew me before the kids, before the two husbands, before anything. When I was brand new. I was 80 pounds. I was surrendered to alcohol and drugs early in the day. I didn't know I had surrendered. I didn't know nothing about the steps. I was very green. I had never been to a program before, nothing. And here walks this tall, statuesque woman, and she had my story because she wore a suit and she got off work and she had the job and she was very careful with her words. She's even gotten more pristine with her language because she's very careful about language and she's a linguist. She's really good at, so she captured my attention because she had my story. And my story was basically that I had a job, even though it was out of order. I had an apartment, even though I was about to get put out of it, and I had a car, which hadn't been registered in 5 years. But I had the things. So I met Brenda. I wish I could rewind in my mind the day that we met. I can't. But I do remember how impactful she's been from the day I was with her. And then she took me on this journey. Her best friend took me through the fourth step before I left for Germany after I had 2 years sober, about a year and a half sober. I got married in my first year. And flew to Germany and stayed there sober, and then came back divorcing with a child. And Brenda had moved out of state, and then we God put us back together. We separated like the letter Y. We
Right.
came together like this. Then I went one way, she went the other way, and now we've come back together years later. And the result of my mother passing away in 2017, and I was in Los Angeles, and I looked over at Brenda. I'm like, so we had always kept in touch, and I was like, hey. You want to be my sponsor again? Because in between that, I was with Betty T for 26 and a half years. So I quote Betty a lot. I quote Brenda a lot, but I'm one of those people that refuses to go unsponsored because
Yeah.
my sponsor is the person that steps in place of God when I can't hear, see, or feel God. When I don't feel the electric energy from the universe, I don't feel anything, or I'm starting to act out. This is a person that knows everything about me and that can predict my next moves because I'm transparent with her. She's a stand-in or the gap stander for me when I'm disconnected from God. So that's basically in a general way. We talk every day, all day. When she has a spiritual awakening or an adventure, that means I'm getting ready to have one with her because she tells me and I feel it. And I
Yeah.
love her dearly. Mother, sister, friend is what I called her because I was reading Oprah when she lost Maya Angelou. And I remember that she called Maya Angelou mother, sister, friend. And I started calling Brenda. And I said, Brenda, I read something. And now she's mother, sister, friend. And I love her dearly. So that's our start and that's our relationship. I'm going to run and get some water. Can you guys keep talking, Brenda? I'll be right back.
Okay.
Your turn, Brenda.
So we I'll take you back to this was May 2017. And I hadn't seen Leslie. She had moved to Georgia. And then I heard that Yvonne died. Now, Yvonne is Leslie's mom, and she was a force to be reckoned with. She used to come to the meetings and she would sit there and she would flirt with the little guys. And she taught me how to, she took me to an art class and she did my nails and she just, her mother and I were close. And then I moved up the street from them and I really got to know her mother. And her mother was just this woman that was unafraid. She may have had some, things that, we called it little boy whistling in the dark. I'm talking about Yvonne Leslie. But on the outside, I had the same response to Leslie's mother that Leslie had to me, right? I loved her. So in 2017, when I heard that she had passed away, and I was particularly stunned, Leslie, remember, because my mother had passed away on Mother's Day in 2004, and Yvonne had died on Mother's Day 2017. And so she was here and she was at a hotel, and I rushed to the hotel and I saw her, and she kind of walked up to me and she had this face. She had the face and she was smiling, and I'm thinking to myself, what the hell's wrong with her? Her mama just died. And so I said, what's going on? What you doing? Where's the service? What we doing? And she was statuesque in her demeanor. And I was like, oh no, girl, something's up with you. So I literally grabbed her by the hand and I threw her in my car. And I took her to my apartment and we sat down on the sofa and I said, okay, so what is really going on with you? And she busted out in tears. And from that, and she looked at me, she said, I need you to sponsor me again. I'm like, that goes without saying. So what's going on with you? What step are you not working? And from there, we began to when your souls have kissed, Leslie, when you meet somebody and there's this soul kissing, those relationships always, in my opinion, come back together. So I think our relationship came back together. And then if you go back further than that, we both were in love with Ray Rogers. Remember Ray Rogers? He was our pastor. He was this pastor of a little Baptist church in Los Angeles, and he was a very unique Black man because he could speak Greek. Remember, Pastor Rogers could read Greek and he could speak. And I was like, oh my God, this is a very impressive fella. And we started to rally around our love for this spiritual leader. And then, like she said, we both went these separate ways. So at some point, I really believe that as I saw her going off to Germany with Julius, I had the same response to that as my sponsor, Richard. When I was marrying my first husband, remember I told you the story, Leslie? I'm walking down the aisle and I'm looking, like red carpet ready, and I'm gorgeous and I paid for this wedding, and it was a 12-step with all the people we knew was in the room, and Richard looked over at me and he said, it ain't too late to turn around. That's how I felt about her going to Germany with Julius, because he hadn't worked no steps. But she didn't know that. And 2 years later, you were back? 3 years later, she had the baby, came back? Yeah. So our lives tend to parallel, and that's the thing that I like about our relationship. I think I got you beat by one husband. You've had two, I've had four. So yeah. So I tend to walk ahead of her, right? And so that is the grace of the universe. That is God giving you something to help you in this journey, to have somebody who is walking behind you, who is putting one foot where your foot has been. I remember learning how to hike and I was unsure, and the lady who was taking me, she said, put your foot where you see my foot, because I've settled that ground for you. So I think that's Leslie in my relationship. I do something and then she will follow me like, ooh, girl, okay, go ahead. Right. So what do you think about that, Leslie?
I think it's a wonderful thing. It's like, now we're going to talk about God a little bit here. See, because Brenda is a lot like me. I hope that's not a bug behind you on your wall, Brenda.
A bug?
What is that behind you above your window on your wall? Turn around. Is it just me?
It's just you.
Okay, it's just me then. Oh, okay. Anyway, I'm scared. I'm sorry, y'all. See, so Let me tell you about relationships. I was just talking to a sponsor, Jackie. Jackie's, we all family. What I like to do is I like to take all the girls and put us together in a big gumbo affair. Because a lot of us didn't have sisters. A lot of us didn't have guiding mothers, per se, spiritually. A lot of us may have had a little idea of God, like the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous says that we come in with a fundamental idea of God, and then it gets skewed by emotions and trauma and tragedy and misconceptions and lies that I tell myself. And the reason why I love my relationship with you, Brenda, is because you tell me things that I already know, and you always tell me, Leslie, I'm not telling you anything new. Yeah, I'm telling you things to remind you.
That's right. That's right.
And the reminder is always in the principles of what is the universal principles of mankind, not just
Right.
us alcoholics and addicts. See, when I first came along, you were trying to tell me, things about the book, and you took me through the book, and you take my hand and you spiritually navigate me through IRS and dying and having kids and stuff like that. And you take me through those things until I could learn those things on my own. And more importantly, you stress to me that these steps are not designed to be like Christmas Day, and God was not Santa Claus.
That's right.
God was not a genie in a lamp that you could rub on and make 3 wishes. God was not a 911 break glass in case of emergency, because that's all I knew. All I knew, if you're anything like me, is that you pray to God and God's supposed to give it to you. But no, sister, that's not the thing that God does. And you taught me different things in working these steps on how to clear away the garbage so I can't see the sun because there's too many clouds. And the clouds were my misconceptions and my defects. And so I find out later on cocaine and alcohol wasn't really the depth of the problem.
Right.
And with your gentle language, and I'm not like her.
No.
Believe it or not, she's so wonderful. And she says things like, this is some corny stuff. Oh, it's just so yummy. My spirit, yummy.
Yeah,
I'm
word. That's a sexy word. Oh,
when you
yummy.
do that, yummy, and it's so fat. I'm like, she's too zen and just, ugh. But I feel her and I understand her. And although our personalities are not alike, one thing, I'm going to say this is off topic. One thing we do have in common, we both Virgos.
Yeah.
So our whole temperament, if you don't believe in that, keep an open mind. But our temperaments, our belief systems, she has a healthy relationship with money.
Yeah. Remember what I wanted to remind you of, because it just popped into my head. We were talking about relationships that time, and Leslie tended to be a little bit traditional, and she's that wife that, she's going to cook the dinner and she's going to serve the dinner and she's going to do all of that stuff because he is the head of the household. And I'd be like, yeah, that's wonderful that you believe that you can operate in that energy and allow him to be the head of the household. But remember, Pastor Rogers taught us that he might be the head, but we the neck that move the head.
That's hysterical. And so what's so funny too, and the reason why we mention religion, because I came from Catholic school and Brenda didn't come from any religious training. She knew my mother. I knew her mother. It's just so many things. See, when the spirit is open and willing, honesty, open-minded, and willingness, God will send you. I'm going to give you guys an example. I know it's off topic, but those people who are starving in the Gaza Strip, I'm going to say that. The universe will send them what they need. He will send them what they need. Yeah, they're starving. Some of you guys, see, I was one of those people that was mad at things that had nothing to do with me. See, me untreated, I've been mad about this. People, institutions, and principles. I'll be mad at Medicare right now. See, Brenda's been retired before me, and we're talking about God, and we're going to get deeper into God. I hope we can make it there, because I have to understand. Brenda tells me things that when I feel like nothing's possible, she'll say things like the universe. If we don't want to use the word God, she'll say the universe. I'll say something. God can even be called suddenly. God could be the one with no name. He could be the Almighty, Allah, whatever you want to call it, but just don't call yourself God. And the strange thing that Brenda makes different for me is when they said, I'm beyond human aid, but they flip it and say, but I need someone to aid me to clear away my garbage so I can connect to the power.
That's right.
How did you come up with that damn universal conspire to give you? And I believe what you said.
Because I really began to understand that these principles that they tell us we have to embrace and invite into all of our affairs. I looked at different religious experiences because I was with that preacher for 10 years, and he kind of made me curious. I'm a curious person by nature. So I went out and I did some, like, tell me I know what the Christians believe. I wonder what these people believe, and I wonder what they believe. And I one of the people that invited Jehovah's Witnesses into my house because I had this curiosity about it. I did. I'm like, come on in, let's talk. And what I learned from doing that, Leslie, is that the commonality, in the program they say, look for the similarities and not the differences.
Yeah.
And I went on. I did that with sort of looking at all that, and I came away from that believing that the things that they had in common with these beautiful spiritual principles like love and compassion and integrity, and they all wanted us to be morally fit. They wanted us to make these decisions. And it finally dawned on me, I don't have the power to make the decisions if it's not for the spiritual principle. Remember, so the book says, resentment is the number one offender. It destroys more alcoholics than anything else. From it stems all form of spiritual disease, for we have not only been mentally and physically ill, we have been spiritually sick. There's my point. When the spiritual malady is overcome, we straighten out mentally and physically. Holy mackerel, Brenda, Leslie. So look, if I seek this spiritual solution, if I wrap myself in these spiritual principles, maybe I won't get fat because I'm eating a bunch of cookies. Maybe I won't be mean to people just because I can be mean. Maybe I won't lie when the truth is a better option. Maybe I'll have the courage to tell the truth. Wait a minute. Maybe I'll have the courage to love somebody like you enough to tell you the truth, even though I risk hurting your feelings.
Yeah. You told me something the other day, Brenda, just to interject here. You told me something and I was down because I was future tripping with money. I'm one of those people, money is my Achilles. Oh my God, if I don't have any, then I'm about to have a nervous breakdown. If I get some, I'm about to have a nervous breakdown because I think I'm going to run through it because I've destroyed money and disrespected money in my sobriety. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to run through this money. Am I going to make it? Now I'm on Social Security. They done cut that off. Oh, and I'm future tripping. Now I know, listen to me, friends. You may know what you're supposed to do. Stay in it right now. Stay in it right now. But when fear attacks me, it's called Brenda. Because I don't have the energy or I don't have whatever it is to get me, okay, I need to stand in now. Let's look at the clock. You know all the right things to do, but when fear overtakes me, I get blind. So I called her the other day. This is brand new. This is right now. These two people right now, give me some right now stuff. And I called her and I said, Brenda, I'm crying. And she never gives me cry, but I break down in a boo. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I think maybe if I do this and I'm going to take my money and do this. And she said, remember, you can only be sober. She says stuff like, you can only be sober just for today, not for the next 24 hours. And she'll say, but right now, you ain't moved. You ain't had to sell nothing. You still got your house. You forgot all that. 6 years in the middle of the boat, still tripping. And so I saw Brenda because I cried afterwards because she's that voice that's balm, BALM, balm to my soul. She's that person that gives me reminiscence of my mother when my mother was very, very good to me. She gives me that reassurance in her lifestyle. If you have a sponsor and you don't know their sponsor, you don't see their lifestyle. Either you need to get connected better with your sponsor or you need a new sponsor because I can call her in the middle of the night with some ridiculousness. I saw you going out to breakfast with that girl. I don't like her. She said, okay, bye, girl, and hang up. So I'm going to say all this. So the other day I went through the crying thing. The next day, this heifer called me and said, yeah, I called her heifer. She called me and said, I have to apologize to you for being so hard on me. To her, that was hard on me, telling me and getting me back into the now. Man, if you don't have a sponsor, and I'm not selling her, she ain't got no room, so I'll be calling her after the meeting. But if you don't have somebody that you can trust, then you can take a chance on her. And what, like they say in the big book, it said, the doctor's opinion said, believe what these people say about themselves. I've seen it. I've been in her house. I believe what she says about herself. Believe her challenge with eating. I used to think it's Alcoholics Anonymous. It ain't about sugar. Yes, it is. Because if I love the thing that God gave me, I should take care of it. I smoke cigarettes. It ain't that great. But I did take on some things to further my lifespan, and I need to get off the cigarettes. And Brenda always tells me things like, you ain't a real smoker.
She ain't no real
Smoke
smoker.
like I smoke. So my question to you is, friend, what do you do with your sponsor? What has your sponsor lineage been like? Because I know some of them.
Oh my God, I have been so blessed. I've only had 3 people that I called sponsor. The first sponsor I had was Richard. Remember Richard? He took me through the steps.
I love
was
Richard.
a beautiful man. He was a beautiful, tall, gay, white guy. And my best story about Richard was my 5th step in Griffith Park. And he had me, and I was angry. I was just such an angry little thing. And he was so unafraid of me, Leslie. I'd be raging and standing over him saying, that's not right. And he'd say, okay, so who's next on the list? And he treated me. And I think a lot of my, commitment to the women that I'm privileged to witness their lives really take me back to the way I was sponsored, because he was very loving with me. He was very a matter of fact with me. He said things like, look, you can't sleep on my sofa. I'm not loaning you any money, and I'm not picking you up for a meeting. But if you get to a meeting, I'll make sure you get home. But it was very a matter of factly. And so I was not that person who needed to be beat down. I know there's this, sponsorship method where they say, well, we want to break them down so we can build them back up. I've never subscribed to that. I believe that we were broken down enough by drugs and alcohol. So I don't really feel the need to sort of dismantle someone in that, because I believe, and we talked about this recently, that the 4th step does a nice job of that. And so if I can get them into that space where they're willing to go back into the future and see the karma that they've created, if they can see that. And I just got sensitive to the fact that when I'm asking you to do that, and so the sponsor that I have now, she has a very similar demeanor. Back in May, I did a 5th step. I wrote out a 5th step because I was scared. My husband's illnesses, the myriad of challenges, physical challenges that he was having, I was scared to death. And I did this work, and I took it to her, and I sat in her backyard, and she has a very similar demeanor to you and to me. Well, to me, not so much you.
Not me.
So
I'm an asshole.
She said, okay, well, what I want you to do is I want you to go home and I want you to do this. I want you to love on him, and I don't want you to expect him to love on you back. And I'm driving home thinking, she don't know this boy. She don't know he mean as a road lizard. She don't know what I'm dealing with, right? So I go home. But to your point, sponsorship, I trusted that she had my best interest at heart, and she made me take him out of the equation. And I did what she said, and it worked almost immediately. Now, one of the things that I am reminded about our relationship, and when I listen to you calling me and you're telling me stuff, oftentimes I remind myself that you are sometimes uncomfortable about being happy. Y'all have to tell Leslie, don't be scared to be happy. It's okay. Be happy. You don't, it's okay. Cut the cake. Because we are these folks that are sort of traumatized, and we're sitting and we're waiting for the shoe to drop. Oh, life can't be this good, but yes, it can. And
Yeah,
I
impending
believe,
doom.
it's like, no, and why do I believe that? Because the big book tells me I only got access to 24 hours. So how am I in this 24 hours? All is good. You know me, girl, I believe a 2 hour massage is the solution to every problem on the planet.
Girl, me too. Because I remember, we think a lot alike. And I'm going to go to the hyper spiritual level. For those of you who don't understand, I know we're talking about God. No, we're not breaking down the steps. But I hopefully that, Brenda, that you and I are giving an example of the freedom
Yes.
after you've gone through this work, not just once, not just twice, but constantly checking. I overanalyze myself. You guys don't know it, but I sit in total fear that maybe I'm making the wrong move. Maybe I need to do another inventory. Sometimes Brenda has to tell me, sit down and stop writing and just be. She's
Mhm.
trying to teach me now how to meditate for 45 minutes. I can't do 10, but I'm watching her transition to a whole nother woman in the midst of, and not have to make things happen and not have to walk in the voice that her head tells her, because she's just like me. She still has the voices, the importance of prayer and meditation. And so she and I go to this level. If some of you could eavesdrop on our conversations on a regular, I believe in the unbelievable.
Yes.
Brenda believes in the unbelievable. We both share information about people like Dr. Joe Dispenza. She hit me to him. I went and read some of his stuff because he talks about not only science, but spirituality and the twain meeting, the two coming together now. We went on a trip together to Arizona, and to this day, we haven't really processed all the amazement that went and happened there. Or if she has a spiritual experience and a spiritual aha moment, she'll tell me, because one thing this program told me about matters of God and spirit, I have a finite mind and God is unlimited. So when she tells me about something amazing that happens to her, I scoot up and I sit on the edge of my seat. It's like sitting at the feet of my elders and listening to what she's telling me. And I automatically, we've never, I don't believe that. It's metaphysical. It could be just stuff you don't really understand, but we tend to blend on that. It's not that she's convinced me. It's something in my spirit that wants to feed and be fed. You know what I'm saying? So when you come up with these aha moments, and we talk about healing, not just in the actions that were done to us, but healing on a cellular level. Baby, when you can get to somebody, you can tell them some of your deepest miracles, some of the powers that I've been able to do. Some of the things, like when my son had 104 fever in the program, and I did a prayer and laid hands on him, and he got, people sit there and go, yes, baby, because we have that ability to do that. Talks about those. Come in here, we're scoffers, we're doubters. How can I put God in a box, Brenda? I like to think outside the box. And you taught
Right.
me nothing's too big and nothing's impossible.
Nothing.
And what if I miss it by doubting it?
That's
Right?
right. That's right. And when I think about, I believe that I call them sacred moments.
Yeah.
The sacred moment of being at a concert and thinking, I am never going to be able to park my car. And then 2 seconds later, somebody pulls out and there's the perfect parking space. hearing the hearing this internal knowing that says, girl, don't get on that freeway. And then the ego says, no, 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 I got to get there. I got to get there. And then I get on the freeway and there's huge backup on the freeway. Well, so I made a decision that if I ever heard, remember when I called you and I told you, I said, if you ever hear yourself say, some told me not to do that, you ignored the spirit. She was speaking and you ignored her, Brenda, because she told. And I believe that sacred moments are things that I see in my imagination. Remember when I called you in 2013 and I said I want to do a woman's retreat? And it was
Yeah.
in my imagination. I saw the picture of it. And then we had, 30 women at the
Yeah.
college,
That's
and we
right.
did this retreat. And it all came out of just this, I believe that when I allow myself to be still, and the book tells me on page 86, it says, relax, take it easy.
Easy. Yes,
Don't
ma'am.
struggle. The right
Yes.
answer will come if you simply, and the reason I get that is because it's manifested in my life when I have had experiences where I didn't know, and I said, oh shit, I don't know. I don't know. And then somebody will call me and now I know. And I've always believed that
Yes.
every every single problem that you and I face, whatever it is, money, relationships, spiritual practice, health and wellness, all of those problems, the solutions are within us. I believe the universe gave them to us when we were in utero with our, we know how to listen. There was a point in time where the only voice that you ever heard, the only thing you ever heard was the sound of Yvonne's heartbeat as she fed you in utero. We have been given all we need to be connected to the universe. I believe that. I
Right.
remember my sponsor calling Franny, who she was my other sponsor who I love Franny. She got sick on me, but Franny
Yes.
was the one that told me get a hold of that carb and sugar addiction because it's gonna get you if you. And so Franny really helped me to move to that place to understand that what I read, the physical, the
Mental,
spiritual, and the
spiritual. Yes.
emotional, that is all connected. But the point that I want to make here was that knowing that that my inner life was as important as my external experience. And when
Yes.
you came to me, I had just stepped out of coming back from the Bay Area, realizing that I had been spending all of this time and energy focused on the job and the da 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 da. And I sat down on the side of the bed and I knew in my heart that something had gone awry. I didn't know what it was. Called Richard. He said, well, what about step 3? Did you forget that you made a decision to turn your will and life over to the care of God? Did you change your mind? And I hadn't changed my mind, but I had forgotten, just like you had forgotten, because we
Right.
forget and we get in this energy of solution. And because you're smart, you're like me, we're smart girls. So we think we can think our way out of a situation. But what I've
Yes.
learned is that the book tells me that I will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle me. So that suggests that it is intuition and intellect that delivers me to this space called wisdom.
Exactly. And I like that when you say that, because I know there's been times I like to think of you as, walking through a forest. I got damn near a forest in my backyard and you're sitting there pruning and making a pathway and I can walk behind you. And it's not just because of chronological, because you're older than me chronologically, but it's your spiritual practice. What I've also learned is this is something amazing, and we're getting close to, because I don't know if you want to agree to let the people talk for a minute, but I'll keep checking the clock because I want to give them a minute for Q&A or whatever. But when you say, and because of you, we have a huge lineage, y'all. I mean, just sponsees. And I tell them, hey, if you can't get me called Brenda, you're accessible. And I so appreciate that, because I know a lot of people whose sponsors are not accessible to everyone. But you said something to me one time, and I posed it last week to the family meeting of all the girls I sponsor. And you said something profound. You said, there is a purpose for the ego. Wait a minute. The ego has, and so when you say things like that, go and research, because I'm a researcher immediately. I start Googling and pulling up and reading. There's a purpose for the ego. The ego has been given a bad name. So, like, Brenda, wait a minute. What do you mean there's a purpose? Y'all told me to smash my ego, edging God out. That's what my ego is. What God gave us an ego just like he gave us fear. And receive from my research and my experience, a warped sense of faith in God. God is everything or he is nothing. Or if I can't get, my ego is so warped and twisted and it takes over my thinking and my disease in my head, I have to call you, and your voice is the ego smash that I need to get my ego centered. Because from what you taught me, I understand that the ego is like the balance. You ever have that balance when you're trying to hang pictures and it's got that bubble in the middle? Well, the ego's supposed to have been used for that bubble in the middle to make decisions. But
Yeah.
we're alcoholics and addicts, and we've been used to running our own life. And what a sponsor does, like you being so available and me spending a night with you and me traveling with you and just learning and feeding off of you for these years and years and years, you are my leveler.
Yeah.
I can still keep my ego, but you make it level. What's your thing with the ego? You know, that I said you say it in better terms than I
Yeah,
do.
I wanted you to understand, sweetie, that in order to set healthy boundaries, you need to have a good, healthy ego to say, you know what, I don't want to be sick. So I'm going to discipline myself to get to the gym. I'm going to, when with the cigarettes, what does I tell you all the time to say to yourself? I'm a non-smoker, because you really don't smoke. You're a poop butt. I smoke 2 packs a day. I don't even know why you call yourself a smoker. But to have that sense of of confidence that doesn't come from my intellect, it comes from my knowing that I am worthy of having things, knowing that I am a manifester. I do have this sense of, oh, a divine self. I do have I have a gift. God gave me a gift. And and a balanced ego lets me use that gift to someone else's betterment. I think when
Yeah,
my ego is only focused on me and is
yeah,
only focused on what I'm going to get, I think that that's the improper use of the ego. But the ego, fear is something God gave us so the species could survive. If we were out in the wild back in ancient times and we didn't have fear, we wouldn't run from the predator. Well, modern times, the body doesn't know that you the predator, that you just made up a story and you just told yourself some stuff and scared the crap out of yourself, and now you're stuck. And my job is to navigate you back to the love story. Because we know how. I was talking to one of my sponsees today, and she's got 90 days, and she said, you know, you've been having me looking at my thinking, and all of my thoughts are negative. I'm like, welcome to the human race. And that's why
yeah,
when you look at that page on page 86, all through that paragraph where it says, upon awakening, it talks about managing my thinking, and it has the nerve to say that when my thinking is on a higher plane, when my thought life is managed, when I'm paying attention, that it will gradually change the pathway in my brain. It's sort of, my sponsor in my mind is like a GPS, you know, the like the old map.
God positioning
Yeah,
system
yeah,
is what I call it.
yeah.
Global positioning
Yeah,
system.
exactly. And
Yeah.
so sometimes I don't know where to go. This is a new neighborhood. I don't know where the grocery store is. I don't know where this is. And I call Mary, and she's my GPS to get me. But then after a while, we talk. Now you don't need your GPS anymore, because the route to the store is etched in your memory. And I think
Yes.
that's what sponsors do. They help us. And then at some point, you learn how to set, reset, and refocus yourself. That, I
Yeah.
believe, is what sponsorship is about. It's
You,
navigating people back.
you do. Thank you. I'm sorry. You got me excited because I think it's almost a quarter till. So, but you got me excited. You know what that brought to mind, because I know one of my gifts is coloring a picture, making a story. And you reminded me. Remember when you first got your first bike and it took off one training wheel, and then you had that uncle, that brother, that cousin, or whoever taught you how to ride a two-wheeler. And it's something about. And I used to use this all the time. It's something about balance. And there's always, when you're a kid, you're looking behind you. And for me, I'm a spiritual kid sometimes, and I see you back there holding on, and you tell me, okay, balance, get your balance. Well, steering wheel. And then eventually we practice it enough and I fall off the bike, my balance isn't right, but eventually I get to look up and I look back and you're no longer holding me and balancing me and I'm balancing. Next thing I know, I'm doing tricks, I'm skiing with the brakes and all that kind of stuff. And I no longer need you for that reassurance. Once I learned how to swim, once I learned how to ride a bike, the key to all of that gifting of balance and rhythm and bikes and a sense of humor, not wearing this stuff too tight, not being a grump, not being smiling in my energy, and I make you laugh and you get my jokes. It's nothing to have a sponsor that just dry flatline. We don't flatline here. I tickle the shit out of you. I get some belly laughs from you because you have a sense of humor and a sense of freedom and a joy, and you make me like a happy kid. I made mama laugh. And so that balance of taking away the numbers off the steps, cleaning house on a regular basis. I've even called you and said, Brenda, do I need to brush up on my brakes? Do I need to adjust my handlebars? Do I need to do another inventory? Oh, this is the other thing, and I'll be done. You've given me the gift of life because I called you with things that I thought of that I hadn't put in the inventory. Remember that time I called you with that really bad thing?
Yeah.
And it wasn't resentment. I said, Brenda, guess what? This is open I am. My I said, what? I said, tell you about that time when I did this, that, and the other, because it's been in my head and I don't think I ever told you. And you said, no. I said, well, let me tell you the story. Told her the story about 2 minutes. I said, so do I need to make amends or go back and write something or do something, do the hokey pokey and turn myself around? She said, no, you're good. Baby, do you know that was another spiritual awakening? And that was about a year ago. That is the relationship I pray that you guys get with someone. Because if you really want it, if you open your mind, I don't have things I can talk about the weather, I can talk about girl stuff, I can talk about boys' body parts, I can talk about what it was like, I can talk about getting aging and recovery. This is some BS. I can ready to get Medicare and I'm about to melt and fall apart. I can talk about teeth removal, teeth insertion. Talk about anything with Brenda. And I'm not concerned whether you hold it to your chest or not. I'm just knowing that I'm free and you love me for telling you. And you're always there to receive me. I thank you for you being in my life. I want to cry because I look at you and I remember you at my mama's house. I remember being able to walk down the street about 4 doors and you lived right down the street from me and Jonathan. You know, I remember sitting your mama in my hair chair in my 1-bedroom apartment and doing your mama's hair. I remember you going to my mama's house and getting your nails done. You are me. You know me from
Yes.
all of my DNA, from front to back. And I thank you for being here and making me a big girl. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. And my final words are this.
Thank you.
The universe, the laws of your consciousness and my consciousness are real. Miracles are real. We are miracles. We move from this place of only having this megaphone of an ego in our ear telling us we're not enough, we're not enough. And we go through this metamorphosis of trusting and learning to trust ourselves and learning to love ourselves and learning to forgive ourselves and learning that we are enough. And then this emerging spiritual voice, this spirit, this energy of the universe begins to permeate every cell in your body. And then before you know it, something comes out of your mouth that you didn't even know you knew because it didn't come from you. And that is the blessing of this 12-step experience. And I'm truly grateful that you invited me in and gave me the privilege of watching you as you evolved. And you watched me as I evolve. And for that, I think the two of us have been beyond blessed. Namaste. I love you.
Namaste, Mama. I love you more than bacon. We're done. We're ready for Q&A or anything. You can take it, Rachel. Thank you guys for peeking in on our conversations.
It was beautiful. It was actually so beautiful. You know, I'm going to stop recording in a second, but I do want to touch about a couple of things that you guys talked about because we still have some time for questions and comments. This is what I felt throughout this meeting. There was a bunch of examples and presence and talk about God because it was so beautiful. It was a triangle. It was Brenda, Leslie, and God throughout. It was just so absolutely beautiful. I want to touch upon two things. One that Brenda said and one that Leslie said. Oh my God, this whole idea about the deepest miracles, right? And what happens maybe if I miss it by doubting it? Like what happens if I just miss those deepest miracles because I doubt it, because I don't believe the unbelievable. And I don't know what happened right now and why you are so moved. It's just beautiful to see you that you're so moved. But I do want to hear a little bit about, these universal principles that you, Brenda, that you were talking about, Brenda, and how do you apply them today? And how is it evident sometimes for you in your life? This whole idea that like, oh my God, the universe is like giving everything to me.
Well, I'd like to address that. What I have done, and I offer this to anyone who might want to consider doing it, I have taken a spiritual principle every year and I have infused it into my life. And so one year, I think it was 2022, the spiritual principle that I chose was integrity. And integrity was that I would show up and I kept my word, and the 4 agreements said I was impeccable in my speech, in my word. And what I discovered about myself was that I would keep my commitment to Leslie or to Tish or to Ralph or anyone that I said I was going to show up for. I would be there. I would keep that. But I would make commitments to myself and I would break those commitments. And so what I started doing, and I started to stand up and realize that no was a complete sentence. I started to question myself. I started to do a very in-depth step 10 to say, what is it I started to ask myself, well, what is it you really, really want? And what I discovered was that I was at a place, Leslie, where the internal journey was more important to me than the external experience. And so what the point that I'm trying to make is if we look at these spiritual principles, this year is the year of compassion. Because last year was the year of forgiveness. And I realized last year that I struggled with forgiving certain people because I had no compassion for their circumstance. And so so this year is the year of compassion because the year of forgiveness was very significant. So I think these spiritual principles are really designed for us to live through, make decisions through, step in and be willing to believe something else. The one thing that Leslie and I have in common is we're willing to challenge our belief systems. Does that answer the question? I hope so.
100%. Thank you. Thank you. Leslie, would you like to add something before we do close the recording where we are going to go into a Q&A?
Yeah, no, she kind of, well, I have one little piece. How do you know if it's what you're doing? Because it feels right and it just goes smoothly. And I don't wrestle. Like she says, I relax in it. And more's always revealed because it could be a wrong choice. But there is that one thing that when I make a wrong decision or they're not wrong, but I could have made a better decision. Instead of going around the block, I could have just went across the street. And the way that I'm assured that it's okay, and even if it's not, Brenda taught me how to live in grace. Grace is that thing that saves me even when I'm wrong. Grace is that thing that saves me from getting loaded and losing my mind even when I don't make the best decision. God is not a God of right or wrong. He just sits there and lets you decide whether he's everything or nothing. He waits with open arms for you to come to him for answers. And if you can't think of it because you're not in tune or you're a bit off, then you pick up the damn phone, man. You pick up the phone and like, Brenda, here's the hard part for me. And it's so amazing that every time I pick up the phone, I hang up the phone being at peace with whatever. When I don't have any more answers, even in my daily life, that means I'm perfectly set up for God to do it, universe, or whatever you want to do what I want, what it needs for me to do. And I believe that whatever happens is going to be good for me. Whether it's relationship, no relationship, job, no job, there's some faith and hope in the background that I know this is going to come out well. Look, Brenda did it, and all these other people did it. I can still do it. I did before. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I am unmuted. There you go. Okay, everybody, we're gonna open it. I have decided to keep the recording going because God forbid I miss a good thing. So we're just gonna keep it going. Liz, would you like to unmute and go ahead?
Yes, yeah, man. Thank you. Brenda, thank you. Hi, my name is Liz, and I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and addict. You know, I'd have been here earlier, but somebody had asked me to speak, and it was awesome. But then they sent me a text saying, Brenda and Leslie doing this guide piece. I said, okay, I got to hit this because you two are like E.F. Hutton to me. I did a lot of growing up, Leslie, since you first met me. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing a lot of growing up, and I owe it to listening in on them Tuesdays with you and Brenda. I listen and I internalize. And Brenda, man, I've been trying to talk to you for the longest because you done said some things. I'm like, I thought I was the only one did that. No, I understand. Tuesday night, man, call me. I gave you my number. So, seriously, because some things, and I love my sponsor. I love her madly. And we talk about everything, but it's some things that, I heard you because I said, wait a minute, that I thought I was the only one. Was she there with me when I did this crap? What the, and it's okay today. You know what I'm saying? When I got the Tuesday minute, I didn't feel no more shame. I didn't, I wasn't as guilty. I love you both to Reese's and Pieces and back again. As Leslie say, more than bacon, and I love me some bacon. I look forward to Tuesdays with y'all because I'm like a kid in a candy store. I love you both. I thank you for coming into my life, teaching me. This old lady here. Thank you. I love you both.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you. Selena, do you have a question? Go ahead.
I do. Actually, I have two questions, one for each. Okay. Brenda, you said something about when you were talking to Leslie and you said, don't you remember that you gave your life to God? Now, I hear people say they took their will back. What is that about? That's your question. And Leslie, my question to you, where did you go? Oh, my question to you is when Brenda told you, don't you remember that you gave your life to God? What did that feel like for you? What was that like for you mentally, spiritually, physically? What did that statement do for you and to you? So those are my two questions.
Brenda, you first. I gotta get my charger. Oh, go. You first.
There you go. Thank you for that, Selena. That was a beautiful question. I appreciate it. I oftentimes hear people say things that I often don't think that they really thought it through. I believe that if I'm truly in step 6 become entirely ready to have something removed, and then I humbly ask him to remove it, the likelihood that I've let it go is good. But was I entirely ready to have it removed, or did I just believe the thought? I had a thought. I believed the thought, but it was just a thought, and I didn't put any real action behind it. I didn't go to step 11 and get some power, because that's where we get our power back. Remember, it says sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God, praying only for the knowledge of his will for us, and what? The power to carry it out. And so if I've truly given it away, like Leslie said, there is no struggle. Selena, every time I ever got promoted in the workspace, I never went looking for a promotion. People call me and say, girl, I never struggled when it was God's will. When I wanted to come home from the Bay Area, it just happened without my permission. Organically, things happen when I'm willing to surrender. Oftentimes we think we've surrendered, but we haven't. We're in compliance, but I'm not surrendered. So what does surrender look like? I don't think about it. I don't talk about it. I don't worry about it. I don't worry you about it. I just know that it's worked out. And then organically, it works out. I hope that answered your question. Leslie?
Thank you. Thank you, Selena. It's good to see you, my love. When she reminds me of that, we both ventured down, we share things with each other on YouTube, and there's Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks, and she has these great things that she talks about that she named the God in her Abraham, and it's the I don't care. God, she reminded me the third step is made a decision to turn my thinking and my actions over to the care of God. And if I turn those things that are so big in my life, they're too big for me to carry, too big for me to balance. If I turn them over to the care of God, then I don't have to care for that thing, including my sons. One lives in LA, terrified. He's a LA 25-year-old black kid in LA, young man, good kid. Those are the ones, the fear that my youngest son who suffers from mental issues, oh my God, he's lost his job, oh my God. But when she reminds me, didn't you tell God? It's one of those, it's a short version of God is either everything he's going to handle or he's nothing. You turn these things over to his care so that you have other things to care for, which is your spiritual maintenance, helping other people, staying recovered a day at a time, handling your business, showing up. There's plenty of things outside of my thinking that God can care for. So what happens is, it's not that I take my will back. I forgot I gave it to him. And I'm going back to step one where I'm trying to manage and control everything. And that's when I struggle. Now, one thing that Brenda says is that sometimes my struggling on things is because I refuse subconsciously in the amygdala, in the hippocampus, in the back of my brain, I refuse to let it go. I forgot the blessings of a day, a week, a month ago. Didn't he carry you through your mother's death? Didn't he carry you through almost bankruptcy? Why would he stop now? God is not a revengeful God, not my God. He is a God that steps out the way, let you have your experience, and hope you skid and hit the bottom and come right back to him. That's all he's waiting for, so he can bless you. So when she reminds me, I'm like, oh, I did turn it over to God. Okay, so I got to return back to that mindset. What does that mean? When my mind starts thinking about the problem, I have the gift of meditation that says, but God, you got me. I've got the gift of prayer, of thanksgiving and gratitude, which erases my fear, puts me back in the seat of comfort of step 3. I can't step 1, he can't step 2, and step 3, I'm definitely going to let it. And I try to remember that. Because stay on the third step. Forget. That's it for me.
Thank you. Deb, you have a question? Go ahead.
Hey, ladies, I'm Debbie, and I am an alcoholic and a drug addict. And I just truly want to thank Leslie and Brenda for bringing this platform. And you know that I've known in the forward, I don't remember which one it is. It says modem to modem. This is truly a God-given program because during the COVID is when I met Leslie. God knew that we could not be left unhinged around here because we was going to wreak havoc. And he gave us the platform of Zoom. And God knew, as somebody, Brenda, our spirits kissed on these squares. I was so broken when I met her because my sponsor of 35 years, 35 Monica, she was gone. She had nothing. And we had nothing because we'd been like this, like you and Brenda. And neither one of us had anything for each other. She lost her son and my godson, and my heart ripped out. I had so much anger and resentment and fear for her. And Leslie brings it right to the place where I had to look at my ego that was leading this parade. And then I met Brenda, who calms my spirit. Leslie get me like this. And then Brenda calms me down. But then I need the balance. I need the balance. Like I need that balance. Leslie walked me through one of the darkest times in my sobriety. And I just want to say this for the Never Too Early Big Book study. 30 years in this, I never studied the big book like I did with that group of people. I saw frothy emotional appeal, and I just read all past it, and I understood it then. This program has been unbelievable. I just had a situation with Leslie, and Leslie can I'm not going to cuss, but move me forward rapidly and self. She said, don't make this about you. Don't make it about you because my ego wants me to believe I am in control of things I have nothing to do with. Do I have a nickel in the quarter? Yes, I do. When I talked to Brenda about another situation, she said, did you forget that you asked your higher power, whatever, she said, whatever you want to call it, did you forget that you asked? And it turned out for the best for you. Ladies, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you. Wait, we have another hand. Where did she go?
It was Monica P.
Yeah? Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know where she went.
Oh, that's bad. Okay. Ruth, I hope Monica can come back. Yeah, we still have time.
Oh,
Ruth,
jump
go ahead.
right in there. I'm jumping. Ladies, my grand sponsee and my sponsor, dynamic duo, right? Leslie, we're like, you both said so many things. And, we're like, we have this Ferrari brain with bicycle brakes, right? And I want Brenda to know, like, talking about lineage, the way I have an interaction and a relationship with Leslie is that she'll call me or I'll call her and things come out organically. It won't be a pressing thing, but she'll mention something. Then I'll be like, you know what? I'll talk. And this is one exact thing that went directly from you, Brenda, to Leslie, to me. And I was in a bit of a financial fear, and I was like, I don't know. I was thinking about maybe, taking a home equity loan out and this. And then she came right back with, guess what? And she told me her story, and she said, I was told, just sit still. I took that, and I sat still. And it was just like the flow of what she was going through with you that I know nothing about. And that doesn't happen much with the fear with the financial, because I just have that, faith or trust, and I could be reckless, but at that point, and she said, no, don't do nothing, just sit still. You know what I mean? And I trust her. And I believe what she's telling me has my best interest too. And I didn't have to do that. And I just love you too. And seeing you Tuesday, seeing Leslie twice a week for 5 years. Love you. You know it.
Thank you, Ruth. Lastly, we have Jacqueline. Jacqueline, would you like to unmute?
Yep. My name is Jackie, and I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and all that, raggedy and all that. But I'm going to say this, and the TV ain't on. Now what? Whatever. Les, wow, you really outdid yourself this last 2 weeks. Brenda, you remind me of, damn, you just said her name, too. The poet's name. Y'all know my TikTok.
Maya
Angela
Angelou.
Maya. Because you are
No,
so
Maya
like
Angelou.
Maya. Wait, because you just like this. Okay, whatever. Let's be like, me and her, because she'll fuss and I'll just be like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Let me just say this, though. I know Uncle Ralph laughing. I ain't even on the gallery. But let me just say this. Thank you for being my connection to him. Because somewhere along the line, I let go of his hand, and then I'll be like, I got it. I got it. But then you remind me, no, he got it. He got it. And I have to remind myself that he's in charge. And sometimes I got to sit in the back seat. But what I want to thank you is, and I'm going to let y'all go after this. The other night we did oh man, Mama Brenda, you'd be so proud of me. We did a thorough fifth, a thorough sixth, a thorough seventh. And when we got through, what? Wait. When we got through, then she gave me my defects versus my assets. She said some things to me that I've never, ever would have thought came out of her mouth. Oh, God, she said I was loyal. I'm a good friend. I'm dependable. And no matter what, I suit up and I show up. She said, but what got her was when I was sitting there with my mama, and she could see my mama's hospital bed. And I was with her through the whole 15 days. Until she said, I'm done, I'm out. And all I can say is it goes back to May 29th, 1995 when I met her. And we trust this road of happy destiny. And I hung on to her like a little kid holds on to their mama. And what she says to me was, no matter what, baby girl, and I've held on to you, and you never led me wrong. And what you do is, I walk in here with, I apply these principles in all my affairs. You just said, where's God, baby? You forgot that quick, huh? So thank you for that. Thank you for allowing me. I'm going to say this and really be quiet. Thank you for allowing me to move about the cabin free today. Today I'm free, baby. Thank you for that reminding me.
Oh.
Cancel Christmas. That's all. Love you, boo. Love you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jacqueline. We have Ralph. Please go ahead, Ralph.
My name is Ralph White. I am an alcoholic. I really just wanted to add some bass to the proceedings. Because we had a love song and we need some bass, right? and something happened. So, Deb, thank you for talking about, in one of our forwards, we talked about modem to modem. And the idea that spiritual experience is transmittable is amazing. And people probably have, Leslie can tell you when Zoom first came, I was like, I ain't feeling that. But everybody that was here in the squares today, and Raquel, thank you for facilitating with the platform. Everybody that was in the squares today, something happened. These two ladies let us in, and something happened. And I know when Raquel set up this platform, she was hoping that it would lead to, maybe not every week, but there's a chemistry every now and then. And I see you. And so me and Brenda were babies together, and we the same class. And Leslie was shortly after. And both of them are like, well, Leslie's the best part of me. Brenda is like, me and Brenda are like almost, Leslie says we are identical in her life. Leslie's spontaneous combustion, and me and Brenda are like, okay. But so we do this, and I'm not going to take up too much time, but it's just on me. What's really going on? Because we do this and we talk about steps and we talk about process, and then we get so used to it. Ruth is on here right now. Jackie's been with him a long time, but Ruth is new to this, and it's like, has always seen these elder women, has always seen these dignified ladies, this trailblazing. And I remember them coming in fresh off, if you were in LA in the 80s, fresh off a well-whooped one. Not esteemed, not dropping nuggets, just some people that were under the lash of some severe alcoholism, hoping against hope that we stumbled into something that works. And all these many years later, to just hear what was taking place today. And I get to see, sometimes, we take the numbers off. We sitting in the middle of something. I don't know if there's anybody that's new that got the opportunity to participate today, or that's fairly new, or that's coming from a broken place. I see you, Val, and Val is all over the place. And a preview of coming attractions. Can I have this? Can I ever be this elegant? Can I ever be this put together? Can I ever be? And that's what they look like. But I'm here to tell you that ain't their starting place. And this business of God. See, I'm not interested in God making sense. I'm interested in a God that makes possible. Don't worry about God making sense. You know what I mean? And so these two today, I loved what happened today. You guys' energy, we felt it. We just felt it. And if you ain't sponsored, Leslie, they'll make you want to run out and get a sponsor. Because this relationship and this power that came through. So both of y'all, like I say, you were singing, but the only thing missing, I just had to put some bass on it. So
Thank you, Ralph. Thank you. I do want to give Monica and Quay the opportunity to say, please, if you can be brief, Monica, please go ahead for sure.
Hi, I'm Monica, and I'm an alcoholic, an addict. Thank you for bringing me this meeting. My sister passed away like 3 weeks ago. It was my third sibling that I've lost. And I didn't realize until probably we started, just listening to you. I think I've been mad with God, because I prayed and I prayed while she was sick, and I was praying, and she had a few surgeries, and he brought her through, and he even brought her through the last surgery. And then she died. And I noticed that my prayers in the morning have gotten really short. I pray every morning, but I did notice that, I don't have the same enthusiasm when I was praying. And I just sitting here tonight, and I'm so grateful that I was able to get on, because I think that I'm upset with God. And I needed, I needed to be here, and it's God that enabled me to be here. Somebody sent me the flyer, and I usually don't get home until a little later, and I left work early, said I could be here. So I realized, that that's the grace of God. My mother always says that the will of God will never take you where the grace of God will keep you, but I wasn't feeling like that. But thank you, ladies, for bringing this, and I'm real grateful to God. Thank you, God, that I made it here.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you. Thank you, Monica. Quay, would you like to also say something? Go ahead.
Good evening, ladies. I want to start off just by saying thank you, just like everybody else has said. You guys really brought a lot of love into this room. And I, like Mr. Ralph has said, I'm a baby. I fresh out of treatment. I'm only 126 days sober. So it's definitely a blessing, and I'm very grateful that this meeting was shared with me to join tonight, because it really touched me, and to see what could be my future is definitely very heartwarming. So I also just want to extend my thanks to you, ladies.
I don't have the Mama Brenda. Somebody call you Mama Brenda. I thought it was the most beautiful thing. I'm like, I love that one. Mama Brenda and the great Leslie. Thank you so much. Really, that was job well done. If we got the presence of God here and it was felt, and that is the absolute purpose of this meeting. Thank you all. Let us all say the serenity prayer for those who are still inside and outside these rooms, suffering, struggling, and in gratitude for the blessing that God has bestowed upon us. If you just want to join me, mic in or out, I don't care. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things
Things I cannot
We cannot
change,
change.
courage to
courage
change
to change the things that
We
I
can,
can,
and the
and the
wisdom
and the
wisdom to know
wisdom
the
to know the
difference.
difference from
Thy
men.
will,
Mine
not
be
mine be
done.
done.
Thank
Man.
you, and thank
Amen.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank
Brenda.
you.
God,
Thank you.
Hey,
It was
Monica.
fun.
Hey.
Wasn't that fun?
Leslie and
Raquel,
So
thank
much.
you.
Absolutely beautiful,
bye-bye.
ladies.
Have a good week.
thank you
Thank
for a
you.
wonderful
Thank you,
meeting.
Raquel.
Hey,
Thank you.
Lee.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Raquel.
Yes, Lee. Hi, Lee.
Hey, Deb.
And Leslie D. Oh, there's a bunch of you guys on here. Hi, Karen from Ottawa. I know her. Hi, Karen. Hey, Tish. I love you guys dearly. Hi, Amy. Oh, we got Val. You start naming one, you got to name them all. Val.
Right.
Jane
Thank
from
you,
Ottawa is
Brenda.
another.
Thank you,
Yeah, we don't
Leslie.
want to
Leslie,
leave
I was
anybody
beside
else.
myself.
I'm so happy you're here, Paul. I love you.
Thank y'all.
Yeah,
God
ladies.
bless y'all.
Thank you, ladies.
Debbie.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you.
Much love.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Raquel.
Stop recording.
See?
I'm gonna stop
Thank
recording.
you.
Chemistry
Thank
for
you.
sure.